Well, I tell you, wheelchairs and walking sticks are indications of a change of status from struggling and poor to well secure and a nice check at the end of the month from the federal government. Um, the, Plus, the American with Disability Act put things into perspective. Um, you always see every now and then everybody's trying out the stick. You see them walking the stick and trying to get a dependence on the stick to convince themselves and others like, man, this fella has a real disability. He's walking the stick for a long time now. So when you apply to the Social Security, you got social workers and other institutions to back up. Say yes, he needs that check because he's disabled for real and so on. Now you see they put on that stick in a hurry and go on and hustle and make some money over there. I want to take these things in here, man. These boxes, yes. You see them pressed and everything, but when they go back and walk the stick, they go on limping down the road. I know a certain lady, I was trying to qualify, and she has a kind of unusual walk. I don't know what sort of a muscle problem to give her that kind of maneuver. But in her mind, she thinks that it's going to be an awesome walk that convince people that she should get a check. I recall when I was living in LA, on Skid Row, this lady coming, she in a wheelchair, she's spinning all around and going all around. I said, like, well, she's doing this wheelchair, she's so energetic and so busy and so on, that she was able to qualify for that disability thing, and she got a chair, and she's gonna be around for a little bit, and then just sell the chair and skip down. Got a check coming in, and she's good. Well, what I also discovered that I went to a place and there was a line. And this guy, when it's my turn, this guy come in front of me saying, impedimento, or disabled. I said, man, you better get from here, bro. You better go to the back of the line, bro. I ain't got time to do this disability thing. And disability now has status because they could go straight to the front of the line. And I mean, in real terms, I'm sure that you need to treat everybody with respect and dispatch and don't sort of discriminate and so on. But this is not discrimination or disrespect. This guy, for example, the one that came to me with sort of impediment or disability, I passed him where he lives. So I say, I'm here now. You know what rent they charge me for this apartment over here? Well, I see they have a for rent sign. He tells me, I don't know. So, I mean, how you live? What do you pay? No, say, I don't know. I say, okay. And then you want to come and jump from this disability thing. And you see, the funny thing with him and others, he seems to have had a stroke. And many of these conditions are coming on because their own actions. They're smoking drugs, they're doing heroin, they're doing all this dumb stuff. They don't sleep, they don't eat, they're busy doing drugs. And when bam, it hit the health, oh man, they qualify for a check now. Because yes, he had a heart attack and he really should get a check. See, so he wasted his life, never had a job, he pushing drugs, using drugs, get disabled, gets a check, and he's happy now. And he wants to jump in front of me that's trying to, get some things I could go out and try to make some money and get some things done. And so you find that even some of the social workers around here, they were prostitutes, they were drug addicts, they were homeless. And unlike people who, well, a source sign, for example, um, rehab is for quitters. And I always believe that many of them went in there because they couldn't smoke that whole teacup of crack again. They find that they can only do a teaspoon, so they say, no man, I can rest up and get strong. Yes, I can take my whole teacup or a little more of heroin or cocaine or whatever. And so you find that the majority of these folks that are using drugs can maintain and are doing what they need to do. But some have hit rock bottom and they say, you know what, I'm going to rehab. And while they're in rehab, they're working hard at it, and it comes to another say, working hard. Saying, I like also working hard, man. If you keep working hard and you succeed, I'm going to look out for you and so on. Get them social worker, and they get them all kind of receptionists. And you know what the funny thing is that they already forget that they were drug addicts, they were homeless, and they were prostitutes. And now they're walking and swinging nice shoes and car and cell phone and smoking cigar like a big shot. And the thing is that they don't have no education. So, and I've asked people, say, what kind of person you like to be a social worker? Somebody who went to university, never did drugs, and has an education, or you prefer somebody that was on the street doing drugs with you? They say, we prefer the person that was on the street doing drugs with us. Well, when it comes from these folks now, and it comes to, man, I was on the street, man, I used to do the same thing you did, and so on. I hit the program, and I stick with it, and I move up, and so on. and and so forth. They don't have no philosophy or no strategy to really help folks. And I think the federal government makes it clear that there should be a certain ratio, and I don't think a guy should work the rehab program just to get up. He should be able to beat it and go and get a life, go back to school or something. And unlike then, if I were a loser like that, and I get into rehab and I get up and stuff, and they give me a job, well then give me no job. But let me say I got the job. I will go to university so I can get a degree in social work, so that if they run out of money, I could go and put myself in the market as a social worker, a professional one. And also I was on the street too, you know what I mean? So you have the experience and you have the education. So maybe you have an advantage as opposed to just having the experience and no education. Um, and so that's a way to beat the system, hit rock bottom, come back again. Either you're disabled and you're getting that big check from the government and you can run in front of them and say, I'm disabled, bro. Get more side, let me get through here now. Or you get a nice job and you have a good life. What I find also is this, that people who seem to have done drugs and so forth very bad and they are now social work or they now have a big job with the government, I still think they're using drugs. But you see, in the first case, they were, they had no job and, they had all these problems. So the drug affected them more. But now they have health care, they have a steady check, they have a place to stay, they have health care. They could also go to the doctor not feeling well. They could call and say, I'm not feeling well, so I'm not coming to work today. If they have a kind of, get high and hangover and so on. And they could be smoking and it doesn't affect them as if they were on the street. One day I was passing by a certain person here in Puerto Rico, and I hear this person saying, help me, help me, help. And it looks like they were going to die. So I peeped in and said, what's up? I say, I need $10. I need to get me a fix. I say, I'll be back. I got you. And the person quiet down right away. So what I conclude from that is this. That if this person was destitute or they are destitute, they have no money and they're hooked on drugs and they need a fix, they don't have no way of getting it, this insecurity of itself is a problem. And plus, they're not going to get a substance that will sort of ameliorate that feeling or that condition they were in and so forth. And they can end up with a heart attack and die or end up with some serious problems, go to rob the bank and shoot out whatever, or go to the street and get killed. Smoke smokers money, they don't want to pay them, you got to beat them down. But if they had a job and they had money in the bank and so on, then they may not even come to that level. They could be using it, a little more sparingly, but all through the day or whatever. And I think that we need to come back to the place where we're testing people on the job. I mean, if a guy has a job, he's a teacher, and he's going to be tested every week or every randomly to see if he's using, heroin, cocaine, any of these drugs. If you're using that, you got to go. I want to think that he got that over because he wants his job, he wants that check and so forth. And a lot of them will lose their jobs because, if they're using drugs, it's a criminal activity, one. And secondly, can they really perform? And the little that they were able to salvage, they're continuing to erode that constitution and that ability with which they ought to be doing the job, So I think that we need to go back to testing. And so this disability show that we have here is being abused, but so there's a whole bunch of people making that money, doctor, this and that, the rehab, this games are playing. But I think that people who beat in the street should beat the street for themselves and not necessarily so I can get a good job. But you're qualified. What kind of job you want? You want to teach, one, be a scientist? But you have to be trained for that now. Go to school, okay, and stop using drugs.